Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode. There's so many choices for how to begin this, but here's the thing is that we have to be so careful during this episode to not get a copyright strike.
You're going to have to cut me singing out the entire episode.
Okay.
I'm from Liverpool.
There you go.
Welcome to
Betsy.
Guilty Pleasures.
Ah,
I feel far away from you two, as if we're across the universe.
yeah, baby. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Today we're talking about across the universe. Go ahead, Kelsey.
Yeah, you got it.
I didn't even say. I just
Go
made
ahead.
a noise.
Go ahead.
But I think the opening would have been more aptly titled "The episode where Kelsey and Zach beat the shit out of each other and Garrick moderates, trying to hold them back."
I am okay with this style of
Kelsey dying
podcast.
on the hill of her favorite musical movie that the fans have been begging us for, while Zachary was a dictator and didn't allow it for
Have they been
3
begging?
of the last years. Yes,
Yeah.
Rick.
Haven't you seen Kelsey leaving comments in our group chat?
Yeah.
It was her.
Nah, it's time. We've done it, and I'm here to defend this movie with my life.
I'm here to announce that I am defending this movie.
Listen, and I know you're gonna have to, hold me back a little, bro.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm all right with that.
I don't want to get riled up, but
Yeah.
I just don't understand how Zachary does not like this movie as a music boy.
This is part of the group chat lore that you guys are out on, but
My microphone's breaking. I'm trying to fix it in real time. You guys are doing great. Keep going.
This has been a constant fight throughout our friendship where Kelsey will bring up Across the Universe and Zach will be like, I don't want to do that movie because that movie fucking sucks. But Zach's usually not mean. He's not mean.
He tries
not
to
a
be
mean person.
neutral.
Tries to be neutral. Tries to be super nice
Bring
on a
out
movie.
the
Find the nice
positive.
things to say about
Find
it.
the nice
For
things
the
to-
record, what did I tell you in the office before this started?
Oh, he goes, just so you know, obviously I'm gonna, I'm not gonna come in heated. I'm gonna come in, saying all nice, but I
Diplomatic.
just want you to know I fucking hated this movie.
Yeah.
But I said I'm not gonna bring that energy on the
Yeah.
podcast.
And then I said, "Bitch, fucking bring it," because
Yeah,
I
she's
jammed
ready.
the playlist
She's
the
ready.
whole ride up here, just
She's ready.
screaming, singing.
The way I am so Switzerland on this because I as soon as I feel
no.
like we need to do the synopsis before I do
because I do
launch
think
into-
the best way is to do it chronologically, maybe through songs.
Yeah.
And
well, the
things like
story's
that.
super important. Yeah, you're right.
You wouldn't know anything about culture. I get it.
Wow.
God. Yeah, no, this is look, I want to hear about this movie. I want to celebrate this movie appropriately. But I will say historically I hate this movie.
Yeah.
And I growing up, this was a movie that everyone and their mother loved.
Yeah.
And I never understood it.
Yeah.
And so I came in with open eyes yesterday and
You
open
did.
arms. And I said, let's give this another go.
Yeah.
And then the movie started and I said, no, I was right.
Listen, the opening shot doesn't help it, but I'm neither here nor there on that fourth
Yeah.
wall break. Whatever, it's fine.
Even before the synopsis, I'm curious if we can just talk for a second about the Beatles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Would love to. I don't care.
And I had a feeling you would say that.
I don't care.
Wow.
I have never cared, and it is.
And I think and I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Actually, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's not even like a diss on them or anything like that. They are undeniably the greatest band of all time.
Love
if
it.
I could
Love it.
if I could just put
Hot take here on Guilty Pleasures. We're going to go ahead and say the Beatles are the greatest band of all
Hot
time.
Yeah,
hot
we
take.
agree.
I was going to say arguably, but I think
Yeah.
that it's okay to say that the Beatles
Give them the crown.
are the greatest group of all time. And just doesn't hit me, man. I just don't give a fuck. Like I'm okay with being like and also admitting that like the harmonies and the lyricism and all of that stuff, the storytelling is beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, that's great.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck. Like
If I may, I didn't care about the Beatles for most of my life, and but that changed, and I realized what it was. There was this album when we were kids called Beatles 1.
Yes,
and it was
the red
with
the
yellow
one.
number 1, and it was all of their hits. And it was like, if I hear Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby one more time, I'm gonna blow my little yellow submarine out of my head.
Wow.
I was only exposed to a couple of these songs over and over and over again. And it wasn't until I was older that I started diving into the albums.
Like the actual albums and
the
like
actual
how, and like
albums.
the
And
sequencing of it all. And all that.
and just being blown away. And I think the reason why the Beatles have stood the test of time is not actually their lyrics. It's a little, their voices are good. Their harmonies are nice, but they're not the best harmonies in the world. If you want harmonies, you go for Brian Wilson, you go for the Beach Boys. They're better harmonies. It is their production and their musicality and the way that they took sounds from all over the world. They took different traditions and cultures, and one may call it appropriation, but they took all of these sounds and then processed and synthesized them in a way that was mass appeal to
First
everyone.
of its kind.
Yeah.
And like they were the first people. They have sitars on their songs.
Yeah.
They arguably invented punk with Helter Skelter. Like they just did every single sound. And what's crazy that people don't remember, the Beatles' run was 8 or 9 years,
which is
wild. This super dense,
mania,
crazy prolific, where they started as these little boys from Liverpool, these little lads singing "I Want to Hold Your Hand" with their like goofy haircuts, being this traditional, almost 50s-esque band. They began as a cover band, and then they were just like they took it and ran. To then going through like psychedelia
transformation, revolution, the reason for rock in the 60s going the way it did. Like, and I not to bring the movie into it, but that's what I love about the movie is it's so reflective. But like everything you're saying was my obsession. Like
you were a big Beatles head.
To be the opposite of both of you, the Beatles were like an identity for me growing up.
Wow.
I have multiple Beatles lyrics tattooed on my body.
No, you do not.
Yes, I do.
That's considering that you've been naked around me so often.
All the time.
I'm surprised that I haven't noticed that.
And it ties a lot to my relationship with my dad.
Oh,
because my dad was a Beatle mania of that era, was a huge fan, very much listened to Beatles 1, like on repeat, he introducing me to like the White Album and Abbey Road and like showed me their discography from rock to psychedelia to like experimental to solo careers, like very much a huge part of my identity. And that's why I ride for this shit so hard, because I'm like, you saying this is wrong is like denying my existence, like my teenagehood, like my car rides growing up.
I can't do that.
You couldn't possibly.
How could I ever? By the way, if you're out there, or if you're like Garrick and you're like, I just don't know, man. Can I tell you?
What's up?
Pop a little edible. Listen to Beatles Love, their Cirque du Soleil album.
Okay.
They basically went back into the studio. They took stems from songs and mixed them together, but then it also like they remastered everything, and then all the songs bleed together. That was my
if
go-to
you ever
Get
can
High
see
album.
one Cirque du Soleil.
I've never seen it.
Oh!
I just know the
Is that
album.
it? It's the Beatles one.
I kid you not. I would drop coin right now to fly us all
Drop
for
coin.
less than 24
I would
hours.
love to
go
do
to
that.
Vegas.
Yeah.
See, I've never gone to Vegas and not seen Love. It's my favorite theater stage production, period, point blank. Cried every time. So immersive. Oh my God, this makes so much sense.
I've listened to the album on a million times.
Dude, it's so fucking visually out of this, like, ahead of its time. It's doing things. It's updated the show. It's updated the special effects. Like, it's so fucking cool.
You know,
oh my God,
so
we're
funny,
going.
What's so funny to me is that we're coming into this movie with similar points of this deep love of the Beatles discography. And the reason you love it is the reason I hate it. Yeah. And they start at the same point.
That's so crazy. Because watching the movie and not having that nostalgic tie to the music, I was just like, I guess that this is like supposed to be poignant and important for like and like bringing up a lot of emotions and feelings and exciting and excitement when you're hearing people sing the lyrics and remaster it and do covers of it.
It didn't do anything.
Nothing.
You have to admit, as a music boy, this soundtrack is incredible. It is undeniably hit after hit of redoing the songs. And exactly what you're saying, why the Beatles was important, is exactly what they do with this soundtrack.
I'm so sorry to say
That you
that
are wrong.
I couldn't disagree more.
Wow.
You are dog. Okay.
Wow.
I don't wanna,
love
like,
this.
What it is
I
for
love
lay
me,
it to
this
you.
so much.
I've said this before, and it's funny because I actually love jukebox musicals.
Yeah.
Trolls
Love it.
fucking slaps harder than anything's ever slapped
Okay,
before.
so
But what I don't like is what I consider the kids' bopification of music.
How could you say it's kids' bopification?
Because the production of the songs is lacking, and they turn every song into this fucking
theater. It
Theater.
becomes theater. Yes,
They
that's
turn
why.
it into theater.
But it turned a whole generation on to Beatles music that maybe would have never heard of them or weren't fans of them. It made it more accessible because some shit you're like, oh my God, like hearing that. I'm not saying it's better than the original, but when I burst out into Beatles songs, sometimes I don't even realize I'm singing Across the Universe soundtrack. Like it's that ingrained, and they did such a good fucking job.
how old were you when you saw the movie?
The weekend it came out in 2007. So I was
Okay.
16.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, fully like I was a snob. What's the word?
A snob?
Hipster. Like
Yeah.
I was like a jaded hipster where I was like, man, all these people don't even know what the Beatles are. They're
Yeah.
singing these worst versions that they don't even know. I mean, it's clearly coming from a place of like I'm a dick.
Of love for
But, like-
Beatles, of the Beatles, or like a
but it's
deep
still
ownership of them.
Also, you have to remember this was 2007. So when
Yeah.
you're adding like the production of the song into like what they do visually, like yes, they are spot projecting like film over someone's face up against the wall. They're throwing strawberries. It's supposed to emulate blood. Like yes, it's a little cheesy, but like I say, what they're able to accomplish in this short amount of period of time of being reflective of counterculture, of being able to touch on so many important subjects, like being able to weave in like race riots with in Detroit with
the Detroit.
yeah, like the
the hot
uprising
summer or
in
whatever.
New York City, being like with all these songs being able to so beautifully. Oh my God, my favorite is when it's like, she's so heavy, she's so bad. Like
Yeah,
that song is the best sequence in the whole movie.
Yeah, I did like that a lot.
Like
but that was
bringing out lyrics in a way where
Yeah.
old Beatles fans are like, I never thought about it that way. It
Right.
totally could. It just is reflective of the 60s. It's reflective of the time period, and they do it so well. They marry the songs with the visual, with the production. And
This is
end
Across
of
the
scene.
Universe.
Yeah, there it is.
To briefly give a synopsis, because I think what you said covers it well. This is a love story between Jude and Lucy. He is a little lad from Liverpool. He comes on over. He meets his best friend, Max. He has a silver hammer. Maxwell introduces him to Lucy. Jude and Lucy, well, they're the leads, and they might look at each other and say, hey, let's smooch.
Yep.
But this is set against the backdrop of
Vietnam
the 60s,
War.
the Vietnam War.
Uprising, revolution, rock and roll.
You nailed it. So
Yeah.
it basically says, hey, we're going to take these characters and in a very Forrest Gumpy way, put them at the touch points of all of U.S. history and all of these themes, all the influences of the society that were impacting the Beatles' music, and we're going to do a little Cliff Notes version of the 60s, 70s.
Trying its best.
Was trying its best. It was very fun to, in a Forrest Gumpy way, try to shoehorn in Detroit in general. Because they definitely shoehorned it in, or it's just like, I'm just gonna fucking
Where was
force this
JoJo
in.
gonna come from?
Yeah, where's he gonna come from? I don't know. Maybe
Why is
he's
he-
from
what's his
Detroit.
backstory?
It's a crazy fucking scene because you have Lucy's
But come
Yeah,
on,
boyfriend.
that
Lucy's
gospel
first
version?
boyfriend. That was great.
Oh.
I'm a sucker for any
Let
choir
It Be?
singing.
You never
any-
imagined that to be a gospel
doing a cover.
song, and that's like the testament to I think what they did well with this music
But
was
listen
like
to this. Listen to this, Rainie. They do gospel Let It Be. Lucy's boyfriend dies in war, and they go, you know, it'd be so great right now. Gospel Let It Be, and
No.
they hit it, and then they go, but shit.
Somebody's gotta die.
No.
They go, shit. We only have white characters.
Oh, fair.
What if we introduce a little black boy with the
Yeah.
voice of gold
Yeah.
and then shoot him?
might I
Yeah.
offer
was
instead the
so
beauty of
fucking
those two
wild.
things happening?
No,
of
there's no beauty in
what
it.
it's showing of right? You have a little black boy dying by the hands of police brutality inside of America's war, right? Showing that time, as well as showing the standard Barbie Ken white guy dying in Vietnam and like his underwear, those songs they're always singing in their underwear. Like, to me, it was showing two kinds of wars happening, and that war is bad.
Yeah.
War equaled bad.
Yeah.
To me, it was we need black person.
We need black character.
But
I can't deny it.
actually, we don't need him that much. So let's kill him
let's
off.
kill him off. He's got to die. He's got to come from some traumatic situation.
See, I thought you were going to argue more that JoJo getting dressed like identically as Jimi Hendrix for 0.5 seconds was the more annoying.
I mean, yeah, sure. I absolutely.
Yeah.
And like him being the guitarist and all of that stuff in the band. Like, it's so strange and so weird to not just have JoJo come from New York, a place abundant with African Americans. I was like, well, okay, why? Oh wow, we're in Detroit. That's interesting. I guess that's cool. Oh, if they kill this little black boy, I'm gonna turn the movie off.
Yeah.
But by the way, they show a really big connection where JoJo is
his brother.
Is he? He's
Yeah.
at the funeral.
He's his brother.
It's his brother.
How did I know?
I only know that because I paused it at that moment, and the Amazon X-ray told me that this is his brother.
And it's supposed to be what was influencing Beatles music at the time.
Yeah.
So that to me, I was like,
like
the
riots and
connection isn't like very
so
obvious.
And that's where I'm like, was it influencing Beatles music at the time? Because there are different like interpretations that you could get from. Like, I didn't know fucking Jude when they were singing about "Hey Jude" was a dude.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea. And then I didn't know "She's So Heavy" was about Uncle Sam wanting you to join his ranks or whatever.
I want you.
Like,
Crazy scene.
Oh,
I like that scene a lot, but I like that contextualization of the song because I know that song from before hearing this. But yeah, like, so when they recontextualize all of this and like say that this moment was the inspiration for this song, I'm like, bullshit. Yeah, but like I see the wheels turning of you needing a cast and trying to throw in Detroit in there because they had the most unrest.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. This year is flying by. I cannot believe that we are already in the summer, but something I'm really proud of in 2024, obviously the team, the second try launch, so proud. And when life goes fast, it's important to celebrate your wins. It's a big deal to stop, smell the roses, and say, hey self, I'm proud of me. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and then set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Therapy is such an essential part of my week to have a time where I get to check in with myself, say, hey self, what's going on? If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Take a moment. Visit BetterHelp.com/guiltypleasures today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/guiltypleasures. Can I do something that'll surprise you?
Yeah.
I would like to tell you the things that I liked.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
I think JoJo,
Oh,
greatest voice.
that
Right.
voice.
Beautiful
Him
voice.
and Sadie together.
No, Sadie, she's not making my list.
Excuse me?
She's not making my list.
That Janis Joplin motherfucking
No.
carbon copy? How could you not?
Let's
Yeah,
not
you
go,
don't think her
let's not be
voice-
crazy
That
here.
was the other thing. What? So there was obvious parallels to people famous at the time, where it's
Yes.
like Janis Joplin and
Jimi
then
Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Joe Crocker's literally in the movie.
And
They also
Jude
do a
was
cover
probably-
of Joe Cocker, His Little Help from My Friends.
Yep.
They like
Oh.
mix. Anyway,
Oh, that's cool.
That's Joe
um,
Cocker. Joe
And
as
Crocker.
a pimp.
And
Weird.
a homeless man and a hippie.
Yeah.
He plays
Oh.
all three.
oh, cool.
He's like the most
he kept
iconic.
like bouncing around.
Yeah.
He's the
like-
only person to ever cover the Beatles better than the Beatles.
Yeah, and the
Good for
Beatles
him.
liked him for that.
Good for him. Jude being a Beatle, I'm guessing, of some sort.
He's a spitting image of John, Paul McCartney.
Or yeah. Who else? Who else was in it that I was? I'm not like
Janis
running on.
Joplin.
Well, the characters all had names that were like references, like Sadie's like sexy Sadie, or no, that's Lovely Rita.
She's supposed to be Janis Joplin.
Yeah, but
then you get like Ken Kesey in the further bus, so you get Bono playing Ken Kesey, but it's like Dr.
Robert, which is another Beatles song character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're doing these kind of amalgams.
References. Major references.
Okay.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamond. Like it's all, whether it was someone of the times.
Or somebody from their music.
From the music. Which that's the other part I liked.
And that was like my main like gripe with the movie. It's so unfair to assume that your audience knows the music that this is all coming from, and will then
is it Garrick? The Beatles.
I know.
Is it unfair?
I know.
I think if you mean the references. You mean the references.
If ever it were fair, it's fair.
It's fair.
But there's so many Easter eggs in there that like you wouldn't catch unless you knew the Beatles.
There's
you could have killed your grandma with a hammer. Like when I'm 64, I thought I'd be whatever. Like
a lot of winks.
Yeah. And so a lot of winks. A movie full of winks. A movie entirely made up of winks into where I'm watching.
The Beatles. You have over 200 songs.
I know.
Like, how do you whittle it down to 33?
No, I'm not even saying whittle it down. Just let me in a little bit. I felt so ostracized the entire time while watching the movie because I was like looking for like touch points of just straight up story, and the whole time it's just like reference. You don't know that. You don't know this. You don't know this. You don't know. And I'm like, oh well, god damn it.
If I may. I was going to continue on the things that I enjoyed, but since we're here, I won't.
Okay, great.
I'd say a problem with the movie is that it doesn't have a story so much as it does have things that happen. And so usually in a movie, a character, the protagonist, makes decisions. Those decisions have consequences, which lead to the next scene. Jude is just a dude who's there.
He's just an
artist.
He's
witnessing history. But
he's
he doesn't
a struggling artist.
But he doesn't make decisions that affect the plot. And I would say, like, you know, there are a couple things the music does that annoys me. But you're watching the beginning of the movie, and then all of a sudden you're watching I Want to Hold Your Hand. And it's a slow version, which annoys the crap out of me. And it's some girl.
Prudence.
Okay. In a football field. Pining over a cheerleader. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? Why are you watching this? What is this thing? But then, by the way, one of the best choreographed scenes in the movie, her slow-mo walking through the field while like acrobatic ballet football players running around. So that is Julie Taymor realness. So good. Yeah, but scenes just happen because, to Garrick's point, the songs want to sing about the things.
Yeah.
Which I think is like, yes, it's a fault that it's like, I'm sure they listed all the Beatles songs, went, what is the theme? And then they circled all the ones that felt. But here's my counterpoint to that. If you listen to the discography in order of the movie, it is reflective of the way the Beatles released those songs. So in the beginning,
like the time period.
Yes. Yeah. You've got their more rock, pop, like I Want to Hold Your Hand, like the feel good. Sure. Then you get into the psychedelic era. You've got the fucking puppet scenes, which we don't have to talk about.
I think it does a good job of, charting history and mapping the songs to the socio.
But that it's a movie musical about Beatles song. Like, to me, it's like they did the best they fucking possibly could have with what the idea for the movie was.
Yeah, with like mixing in like 2 hours worth of music videos.
But like what they succeed in there, they sacrifice in terms of character.
Yeah. There's
don't know.
There's no real. I don't think there's a real character in other than Max. Max is a pretty strong character.
Lucy's on her like second wave feminism bullshit. She's in her like counterculture grief moment. Like,
yeah.
I would argue Jude, yes, is maybe the least interesting because he's just like a struggling. He gives Moulin Rouge guy. What's his name?
Ewan McGregor.
Like, we're watching it through his eyes.
Yes.
Does he do anything? Not really, but like, I get why we need him.
Yeah,
we needed a guy that looked
somebody
like
from Liverpool,
Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
And he, why am I blanking on the actor's name?
Jim Sturgis.
He did that thing, man.
He really does.
Everybody's performance is great.
His voice.
He gives exactly the stereotype of like, why am I attracted to British guys who are like kind of not that attractive? Mm-hmm. He just fucking does it for me, man.
He has the line where Max goes, "Where's the accent from? Same place as me." Liverpool. And I'm like,
Liverpool.
that's fucking
That's
cool.
cool.
If an American said that, I'd slap the shit out of
Yeah,
him.
just
But
like,
you
shut
said
up.
that, I'm like, you're cool.
Yeah, that's
That
sick.
scene of get by with a little help from my friends is the
Cute.
most fun,
With him walking
feel
through the
good.
streets.
Yes, like going
JoJo's
through
brother.
the
No.
the Berkeley College like at night, getting high with a little help from my
Max
friends.
and G.
Oh, got it.
When they're
Yeah.
at the college.
And
when they're
it's
at
like
Princeton.
yes,
Yeah.
that's so much fun.
That's what like Ivy Leagues used to be. They weren't
Exactly.
stuffy. They used to just be like, oh, this is a institution
literally.
that you can go to.
It was Timothy Leary that was the professor. That was the guy with the acid guy. Like they were professors at college with like shaping minds that removed themselves to start this counterculture and literally like tune in, tune out, or drop in, tune out, or whatever the fuck the saying is,
Mhm.
came from Ivy League schools.
The scene I think that maybe follows that or soon after, I think is the best song to movie that they nail, which is I've Just Seen a Face.
In Bowling Alley?
In the bowling alley. It's
That's
great.
That was
It is
great.
a good scene. The music is well done.
Yeah, the choreo is fantastic.
So
Them
fun.
as soon as they slid down those alleys, I was like, oh fuck yes.
Yeah,
I
it
was
looked
into
cool
that.
as shit.
And that was something that I remember seeing from commercials and
posters and
trailers
stuff,
and all
yeah.
that is them sliding down
It was
that alley.
2007. The lights, the puppeteering. You have to give it up to the director, who we talked about.
Tamar.
She was the director of the Lion King Broadway.
On Broadway.
Mm.
And the very famous Spider-Man Turn Off the Lights, the biggest flop in Broadway history.
Great,
Wow.
I never knew that.
Ouch.
But she also
It's
has
a great
won
story.
like 5 BAFTAs,
'Cause she
2
kept-
Olivier's, 2 Oscars. She's a master puppeteer and costumer. Frida.
Great movie.
Like
Yeah,
she
she's
is
prolific.
she
Yeah.
is a theater girly.
Yeah.
Respect on her name. Like for her to come in as a woman in 2007 when they weren't doing that shit really a lot to give this amount of production and creative direction, like I gotta love her.
Get on them. Like it kind of feels like they wanted to make this movie and they're like, it's gonna be a musical, so we definitely need somebody who writes musicals. And if we're gonna do it, we have to get the best one working in Broadway. And I'm guessing that's
direct.
The
It's like she
two
is-
that wrote it were 2 British dudes that had
She
like a
directed,
really
didn't write,
famous BBC show forever and ever.
When this movie works
Mhm.
and like when it flies, it is purely because of
Yeah.
her.
the first
It-
45 minutes.
Yeah. It is,
Oh come on!
it is her.
When they're underwater, because the 9-part harmony.
I mean, we've talked
after they
now
all do acid.
4 times about the army scene with Uncle Sam reaching
Yes.
out, the weird blockhead.
The
Faces,
blockheading, yeah, that was
the
crazy. The
puppeteering
weird
of their bodies,
Clockwork
getting them ready
Orange
for war.
type
I
shit,
I hate they're so disturbing, the little soldiers with
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
fucking squared off chins and they're like all 8 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these touches that feel so specifically her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really wonderful.
Yeah.
You get when it gets into more psychedelia and you have like the benefit of Mr. Kite.
Okay,
You have
we don't
these
have to talk
big
about it.
They're
puppets.
That
She
part
does-
bothers me too.
Yeah,
were-
no, it's weird.
Yeah, they were-
But when you see Love, Cirque du Soleil,
Mm.
it will make more sense.
there were these moments where it would jump into like full on musical where
music video, I would say, more than musical.
Yeah, full on music video that like reminded me of the Mean Girls musical where I was just like, just do this would have been fine. Just do this.
That's
Just-
my least favorite song, I think.
Which
Because
one?
it's also the Mr. Kite where
The
he's
benefit
like,
of Mr. Kite with
"That's
Eddie
about-
Izzard.
they've got stuff. Like, I get it. It's
Mhm.
funny. It's
Yeah,
the
they're not
character,
really
but it's not.
singing, and it
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
like they showed up on set and then we're just like, I'm gonna wing it.
Yeah.
That's another reference. I was like, this is the Beatles song?
Yeah. And they did some really weird, wacky shit, which just like that, the fact that every single song they're singing in there is a Beatles song, it kind of blows my mind, which is just a testament to their music being so versatile
Yeah.
to be able to morph something
And
into a cappella, to morph
Well,
something into
fair.
gospel, like
Fair.
the fucking Helter Skelter rock, like laying it on top of, across the universe, the titular song, like,
That's crazy.
I'm sad you didn't get to see the one part where the Hare Krishnas are going through the subway going ding, 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 ding with the golden light blinking. Just promise me you'll finish it.
Yeah, I will.
But if I can tell you, if we can go back to I Just Seen the Face, that's what the song
Yeah.
is called? I've Just Seen the Face. The bowling alley scene, I think, encapsulates actually where I think this movie goes wrong for me. And what I like about jukebox musicals when I like them. The reason I think that scene works so well is because it's a feeling. This is the feeling of falling in love. And the song has very simple lyrics. I've just seen the face, falling, yes, I'm falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Like, who even cares what he's saying? He's just singing about love. The song feels like love. It's happy. The choreography is fun. But what this movie does so much, which drives me insane, is literal lyricism. Where, and you talked about get, like, with a little help from my friends, they sing, get high with a little help from my friends.
Oh, where
they're passing around a fake joint. And in like in every scene, they're literally saying what they're doing.
Yes.
And it just drives me crazy.
But that's what the 60s were.
Is
and
it
like,
them?
What do you mean that's what the 60s were?
Wait. Are they changing the lyrics?
No,
they're not. Okay,
No,
but they're
They're
just
saying,
doing the.
these are what the lyrics say,
Because-
so we have to film them doing it.
Yeah, and
because that's what I'm obsessed with, right? Like I was obsessed with the idea of the revolution in the late 60s, like early 70s. The idea that you had to pick a side. Were you going to go corporate, Mr. America war, or were you going to be a fucking free, loving, hippie, fucking everyone and smoking weed? And like, I love the idea, A, that my father was a part of that and like imagining him doing that and literally like not being drafted because he was the only son in the family. So what happened? Of course, he went to Woodstock. He heard music. It changed him. He started smoking weed. It was like, that was the identity for so many people that ended up becoming parents. And like, I think is the reason we have decent children now. Like they're the ones that were like, fuck the man, fuck the system. Like I believe more in the idea of people and love, man, freedom and love, brother. And like, that is what the Beatles were about. And them being able to, the literal lyrics were for a reason. They were trying to recreate and show you what the 60s felt like.
Oh, you could have done that without doing the literal. You can still show scenes that have. Okay, this movie is so fucking on the nose. I burst out laughing at one point. It's actually, I think, the end of the She's So Heavy scene. They cut to Vietnam, and then it cuts to a wide shot where soldiers are literally carrying the Statue of Liberty.
That's the part we thought
weight
was so
of
hard.
liberty on their backs. When I tell you that I laughed so hard that Bowie got freaked out, I couldn't believe the obviousness of that visual metaphor.
But the song isn't written about that. This song is supposed to be a sexy, like, what's the word?
She's so heavy.
Yeah, like it's about a girl.
Yeah.
So for the director to go, oh my God. Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's fucking baller. I was like, oh shit, that's the double meaning behind what they were writing at the time where there was
maybe.
But you know, like, look at John Lennon, what he ended up doing with Peace. Like,
that's fair.
He clearly, they were very anti-war.
This is where like, I bring this up every podcast, but during the Drake and Kendrick beat, everybody was like finding so many different meanings behind what Kendrick was saying, and they're just like, "Oh, this is a shit. That's what they do with his music in general." Or they're just like, "This is about this. This is about this." That's all well and good if you can interpret it 70 different ways. What did you intend? Tell me what you intended so that I can know. I mean, you don't have to tell me, but I know that there is a difference between intent and just straight up reaching.
Yeah.
And for us to interpret it however many different ways and for you to just say like, oh, this is what they actually meant, it lessens the value of the art in my eyes, or like the lyricism in my eyes, if I know that what you're saying is a reach. I know that what you're saying is not what was intended.
Just to counter that with this movie specifically, a lot of the criticism was that it was a watered down version. It was like a little bit of a kid's boppification. It was like, no, their shit was fucking.
It was like heavier than.
Yeah, and they were saying shit. Like they had messaging behind their music, and a lot of people were saying like it was too much crammed into like one thing. But then, of course, you know.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is like.
It's a glossy anti-war movie, right?
They might have gotten away with like doing two different types of Beatles songs. Doing the political Beatles song and the love Beatles song, so that you like mirror that entire track throughout the movie, where it's just like, I'm telling a love story that is also involving war.
Yeah.
There's also anti-war that's also involving
Yeah.
war, so on and so forth. And so you just have those two threads like weaving together throughout the entire story, and you lessen, or you take away the muddiness or like the watering down of like what you're actually trying to say. What were they trying to say with this? Don't
This is where I'm gonna get on Kelsey's side.
Oh yeah, nice.
No, I actually agree with you entirely because it would have made it a cleaner
Yeah.
plot.
Clear.
But to argue for Kelsey,
Wow. Never thought I'd see the day.
for the Beatles, love and anti-war are one and the same.
Is one and the same.
Because their
Okay.
love isn't just about like, hey, I want to make love. It is that the message of love is one of world peace, is of anti-war, is of anti-imperialism.
Yeah.
Of let's get together.
Yeah. And so if it is,
But yeah, it's a way messier movie because of that.
Because of that. If it's one and the same, then I'm just like, all right, now I'm forcing She's So Heavy to be anti-war. Now I'm forcing Hey Jude to be a love story, or like
Yeah.
I
Some
don't
of their
know
shit
the-
was really simple. Like Hey Jude was supposed to be just a song that like makes someone feel better after going through a hard time. Or
Yeah.
like my favorite is Dear Prudence is actually based on when John and
Yoko Ono.
Yoko?
no,
Oh, I don't know.
Paul,
this.
thank you. John Paul went to a meditation retreat, and Mia Farrow's sister, Prudence, was in the meditation and like was in silence of meditation. And so they wrote this song that inspired her to be like, come out and play with us. Like, come have a good time. Like, you're so stuck in this dark, like meditation zone. We want you to like come out and play. And then they were able to warp that into literal talk about literal lyricism, being Prudence being stuck in a closet. Like she was gay and she couldn't come out then. Like it was just starting to be accepted for the first time. Like I loved that they were able to do that they were able to be like, here is a topic that was happening at the time of the 60s. Like there weren't a lot of out queer people except for in New York City.
Okay.
I'm glad actually that you brought that up because last night my brain started to glaze over by the time I got to that point in the movie because I'm just like, God, what the fuck? And then they're singing to her through the door, and it's like the will you build a snowman moment, and I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden the walls turn into clouds, and I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
And that is, I would say, fun of this movie is that it is a drug trip by someone who's never even smoked weed.
Yes, it is.
Someone
And-
guessing what LSD feels
yeah,
like.
and I am trying to like give the time period the benefit of the doubt that it was made in, where it's just like, well, maybe they didn't get like the technology to be able to convey this as
Yeah.
well, because
God,
it was
yeah,
when
it was
when the whole
bad.
acid trip happened, I was just like, why aren't the walls melting? That's
Like,
all that happens.
The Bono on the bus where it's just like going in and out to like color temperature of
Yeah.
like it looked like a heat seeking.
Yeah, it's someone playing in Photoshop for the
Yes.
first time
Right.
and dragging the color bars
Yeah.
to the left
Up
and right.
and
Be like,
down.
whoa, now the whole thing's purple.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
when everybody went to the Apple store and took pictures and then put them on their Facebook.
This is Apple
that.
Photo
This
Booth
is Apple Photo Booth
with one of the
for
weird
first time.
filters. That is Julie Taymor's version of drugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like you've never smoked a
But
day in your life.
To be fair, they had
Oh,
to
I'm
keep
clean.
it PG.
Yeah, right.
They had to keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
So
Is this PG-13?
it's PG-13,
got
and which
bitties.
is why you don't get a real joint. Even though he blows out real smoke, you don't ever see a joint.
So this was that era, Titanic burst the walls down, where they got away with tasteful nudity
Yeah.
for a couple years there, because that's crazy.
Yeah.
I meant to look that up after the movie because you see Evan Rachel Wood topless.
Yeah, you
and then
see
they
a
also
titty.
have some like women who are like painted, but they're
Yeah.
still naked.
Right.
Oh God, those
Oh.
imageries of like them falling back in the water or like them underwater doing that whole song. Where's that flowing in? Like, oh my God.
I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I'm not. To me, it's a music video, not a musical,
Yeah.
and I'm not moved when songs aren't motivated by character and don't advance plot. I think this is a lovely thing to put on.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't
That's where it
advance-
doesn't grab me.
It doesn't advance plot at all. It doesn't advance plot at all. And it's pretty it's kind of wild how it like tries to make you think that it is, but it's genuinely just like, let's just put the pause on a button because we hit a relevant time to sing a Beatles song.
And to your opposite, I am so impressed that they were able to make any kind of story out of weaving Beatles lyrics together.
That's fair.
Kelsey's sitting here being like, "Yeah, do you have any idea
Yeah,
how hard it is?"
Yeah.
Like what? they did is a miracle. They
Yeah.
made
That's funny.
33 songs
That's-
together and made a movie.
I do wonder now
Cut that down to
if they
15, baby. Like, why I gotta be 30?
I don't know. 'Cause
Too ambitious.
Theater people.
Too much ambition.
That's what you get with theater.
it does make
Musical
me
theater.
wonder, to your point, like if they had just decided to tell a quaint little story,
Quaint little story about love.
guy meets girl.
Because I was,
But then, to your point, it would have
Yeah.
missed all the contextualization of what the Beatles were about.
so I have a theory that Evan Rachel Wood in this movie was scanned by the corporation that made the Westwood Park and put into Westworld. Westworld Park and put into Westworld. I said Westwood.
I was like, what is Westwood?
Sorry.
So you're saying in the canon of the show Westworld.
In the canon of the show Westworld, they stole this girl, or they saw this girl in Across the Universe, scanned her body, and then put her into Westworld.
So
because
in the canon of Westworld,
Yes.
the movie Across the Universe exists.
yes. Yeah.
Go on.
And they scanned her and put her likeness into.
What makes you say this?
They are wearing the same outfits. Their
What?
length is the same. The length of hair is the same. All of the vibe is pretty similar. Yeah, I feel like it is the. I mean, of course, it's a different era and all of that stuff. Blah blah blah. It's not the '60s. I think Westworld is based off of, old West, the Wild Wild West times, but similar vibes.
Watching this, I remembered her in the movie 13, which is
Oh my God.
fucking excellent.
Yeah.
And I
How have
imagine
we not done that?
it must have been your identity.
Yeah,
Dog.
yeah.
Can,
The whole
Rainie, can we put 13 on this
Yes.
podcast?
Is it a guilty pleasure? It was a
Absolutely.
phenomenal
No, it's just a
movie.
Oh, are
good
you
movie.
kidding? People fucking hate that movie.
Really?
Who?
No,
Oh my
no,
God.
because they were. I feel like they were tricked into thinking that this was a teen movie.
Yes.
Interesting.
It
Okay.
was
We'll
an
put a pin there.
actual
Yeah.
teen movie.
We got to do that.
So good.
Yeah.
But
Euphoria before Euphoria.
all your
Um,
life, you've been waiting to hear Bono say the words masturbating alligators. And guess what? This movie pulls it off.
When I saw this movie, I didn't give a fuck who Bono was. Didn't care about you two. Honestly, still don't.
Do you know that in the YouTube description, like when you go to rent the movie, it says Bono stars as Dr. Robert in, or something like that. Like
That's
they lead
rude.
with the fact that Bono is in this movie.
Was Bono the handlebar mustache guy on the
Yeah.
bus?
Yeah.
Got it.
Ken Kesey do you know Ken Kesey further bus, microdot acid test? My dad was on the bus.
Tell us.
What is
So
this?
the microdot acid test was experimenting with acid to be like a creative enhancement.
Mhm.
And he ended up being this guy. I think he was the one who like was also a professor, decided rent a bus, got a bunch of students on it who were interested in taking acid and experimenting with its effects. And they like drove across and back to America to like, basically you hop on, hop off, kind of like live on this bus, this double-decker bus. And they wrote a book about it, and there ended up being like bands that came out of it and like musicians that
How
spawned.
long was your dad on the bus?
I think a very short, brief stint in New York
Mm.
because he was hitchhiking
Your
across
dad
America.
did drugs?
Believe it or not.
Wow.
I have one uncle who did acid every day for 3 years.
That's
too
crazy.
much.
That is too much.
That's way too much.
But there was like the merry
Too many
pranksters,
years.
like dudes who were like the biggest acid dealers of all time, like Johnny Depp Blow style, not to reference him, but
Uh-huh.
like the guys that traveled with this bus. And that whole school bus thing, that was like very much a real guy who did a real thing.
I just PSA for the record, space out your drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burn a
30
little hole in
every
your
day.
brain.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He did
Also,
every
it
day for
stops
3
working.
years. I mean, he's a cool guy.
I bet.
He's a very cool,
By the
chill
way,
guy.
I'd like to meet him.
You should. He's great. You guys will
Sounds
get
cool.
along.
Is he okay? Is he all there?
Yeah, and he beat cancer. So
Wow.
he's
for him.
chilling. Yeah.
Damn,
Congratulations.
what can't acid do?
What can't acid do? Stay in school, kids.
Yeah. Or you can look at the glass half empty and say, acid caused cancer.
No, he did a lot of other crazy shit. That was probably.
I can't believe that we haven't mentioned Logan Marshall Green, motherfucking upgrade in this movie.
Yo,
Yes?
what? Where?
Who?
You saw him.
Who?
He's the dude. What do you mean who?
I don't know who that man is.
Upgrade.
Yes.
He is
Yeah.
I know. I couldn't tell you what that man looked like.
not Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
He
I
is,
thought it was Tom Hardy.
Oh.
he is the dude that is making bombs. He's working for
Oh, shit.
Pancho?
Is that his name?
Paco Pancho?
Paco Laco?
How
That's
did you
him?
not know? You were so checked out by that point in the movie
so
that not even Logan Marshall Green would. So first they show, it's first they're singing Dear Prudence. And then they're going out and they see in Washington Square Park, there's a protest. He's leading the protest. And then I'm like, wow, a cameo from Upgrade. Oh,
I can't believe you didn't see your own guy.
That hurts. That hurts.
That hurts me.
I didn't even recognize
I'm
him.
a little shamed.
Wow. He looks so young.
I love this movie so much. I love it so much.
Is he hot? Is Jude hot?
Dude, I told you. He does that thing where it's an accent.
What about when he smokes a cigarette?
We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, I knew that would be
And
a
honestly,
tough scene
he
for
could get
you.
away with it. It's just part of their culture.
How does he smoke a cigarette?
He just
smokes
does.
It, supposed
It's
to like
gross.
this.
Kelsey just doesn't like cigarettes.
I hate cigarettes so
Oh, wow.
much.
I didn't
it
know
makes
that.
me want to
I
vom
didn't know that
vom.
about you.
There, every now and then, the movie. I know that I've been dunking on it, and really, I want you to know that it begins. And no, I'll keep dunking on it. But every now and then, the movie has these bits of ensemble choreography. Like there's a scene
They're
where businessmen are walking.
incredible.
And then all like you think it's just a bunch of extras walking, and then you realize, oh no, these are all trained dancers who break left and then move right and then
Yes.
duck down, and it's
Yes.
so delightful and
Yes.
magical.
Yes.
And it's a scale of musical filmmaking that we don't often get to see.
Yeah. Very practical.
Almost this it feels like a blank check was given to her to just say like, hey, make a big bombastic musical movie. It's the Beatles. We're going to make money. So, and you directed the most successful Broadway musical of all time.
Yeah.
Go nuts, Julie.
Yeah.
And she fucking does.
Yeah.
They're-
It's so apparent she is a master costumer, puppeteer, creative director.
I'll say this. If I were to ever get the opportunity to direct a musical, I would study scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, doesn't
Yeah.
sound like he hates it that much.
Yeah,
does
because
he?
I think, I agree. Because I think on a visual aspect, like on a directing aspect, it's not a directing failure. It's not a cinematography failure. It's not a performance failure. I feel like the script failed everything else. Where it's just like it
Failed us.
It failed us.
You too.
Yes.
un-
And that
specifically.
I don't
Yeah.
care about.
That is fair. It unfortunately tried to. It tried to tackle something that was a little too ambitious for a movie.
An entire decade of revolution in one movie.
And I think somebody would have taken a swing at this
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form, and that's
I'm glad it
It's
wasn't a
unfortunate.
white dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I'm
fair.
glad because there have been other versions
White dudes
of
have
like,
ruined plenty of things. Let a
yeah,
woman
they're
ruin
fine.
something.
Like
You
there
got-
are a lot of like band movies, that have done the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, Yesterday, things like that, that I think have done a far worse job at recapping the mega, compilation that is the Beatles.
Quick hit. The actor who plays Max, love his voice.
great.
He's
Not
British.
singing voice, just his talking.
Yeah.
He's British.
He's fucking British, mate.
Well, that's crazy.
Wow.
He does a really good fucking New York accent.
I thought he
Wow.
should be a voice actor because
Yeah.
at first I was like, this guy's a
Got a good
star.
gravel
And as
to
it
it.
went on, I'm like, well, maybe he doesn't have it. But like, if you close your eyes and just hear him talk, I loved Max.
Remember when
So
Selma
charming.
Hayek injects him with morphine?
Yes.
Love that scene. Happiness is a warm gun. Yes, it is. Remember Selma Hayek in a nurse
Hey,
outfit?
remember when that happened? Love that.
Yeah, she was multiple Selma Hayeks. Where did that come from? I don't know, but I love
I
it.
think it was just a little Frida reunion.
Yeah. Good point.
Just said, hey, Selma,
She said, come in for the day.
come on in.
But it
Over.
touches on like the addiction that happened to soldiers that came back from the Vietnam War.
Too much.
Yeah.
Trying too much.
I don't know. I
Too
thought they
many
did it
things.
really well.
Y'all ready for some fun facts?
Hit me. I dare you to tell me something I don't already know about this movie.
Oh, okay.
Try to
That's
surprise
That's a
me.
good dare.
How much do you think they paid for the Beatles music?
I thought they got it for free. I have
$20 million.
No fucking clue.
Lower.
10?
10 million.
Wow.
$10 million.
Which is a lot in 2007.
Yeah, this bombed at the box office. By
Did
the
it?
way. Oh my God. Didn't even make back half, I think.
Stop it.
But it was critically acclaimed and developed a cult
Okay, it
following.
has a 56 on
online.
Rotten Tomatoes.
It can't be
It's a cult
critical.
classic.
You said critically acclaimed.
It was critically acclaimed.
by half people.
Half of the-
Okay,
half
we're
of
not
the
going on Rotten
reviewers.
Tomatoes for those stats.
I didn't know it was because if you had told me that this was like one of the biggest movies of the year, I would have believed you because everyone that I knew loved this movie.
You're
And
right.
now I feel like I didn't have to work all that hard
Yeah.
Now I feel like I could have just said, check the scoreboard.
Yeah, fair. I gave you that ammunition, and you're welcome.
I could.
Friendship.
Yeah, wow, it made $29 million at the box office. That's a bomb. That's surprising to me. It's got music. It's got love.
I weirdly don't think this is a movie theater movie, which I know is saying something.
I don't
think
so
so.
either.
What do you mean by that?
I think it's a stay at home and sing along with your friends and fam.
Sure.
But you can't sing along because they changed the tempo.
But bro, when you know the songs, they're so singable. Like I tell you, sometimes I'll just be like, a girl. Like I don't even know where it comes from. It's just ingrained in me bones.
Okay, so Julie Taymor, director of the movie, her initial cut, studio head did not care for it. So he re-edited it to have it better suit mass audiences. Julie Taymor's contract gave her, quote, final cut rights. Roth was like, I'ma talk to her. I'ma persuade her. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Miss Taymor threatened a lawsuit if he failed to release her version. Moreover, in exchange for participating in the DVD release, Taymor forced the studio to sign an agreement that all copies of his edit would be destroyed and never be released to the general public.
I want to see it.
No, I
didn't know that.
It has to be way worse.
Almost always worse. The
Always
studio
worse.
heads don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I'd watch it though.
I feel like you'd be upset.
Yeah. All right. Checks out.
Julie Taymor, watched the movie sitting next to Paul McCartney.
Do you know what he
at the
leaned over
premiere.
and said?
She said, "Did you like the movie?" And he
said,
responded,
"Was there anything you would have changed? Anything you were unhappy with?" And he said, "What's not to love about it?"
Wow.
Salma Hayek she specifically requested to appear in the film. It was her idea. And Julie Taymor said, well, I have the role of the bang bang shoot nurse. I hate how that's written. That's so stupid. And Hayek replied, just one of the nurses, Julie?
Wow. I don't know if you've gotten to that part yet, but it's sassy.
No.
You'll get there.
And Joe Anderson was originally looked at to play Jude.
Ah.
But then he was like, I'm more of a Max guy.
Too blonde.
And they gave a little switcheroo. This was released on John Lennon's birthday. R.I.P. Big J.
You may say that I'm a dreamer.
No one's ever called him Big J.
Never once. It didn't work.
Medium-sized J.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this out loud because to me it's the most obvious thing ever. But last night Maggie was like, what? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is about LSD. We all know this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lucy in the Lucy in the Sky.
LSD.
Diamonds.
Okay,
yes.
great. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page there.
Yes. Big drug guys. They were super into drugs.
Yeah, Beatles loved a couple things. They loved
love,
Indian music,
LSD.
drugs.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
They did a lot of drugs.
A lot of drugs. I'm still stuck on this studio head trying to
edit like himself.
Edit.
The idea of him being behind like a premiere, like double screen, and him being like, all right, now what does this button do?
Yeah, like how does this how would this be like how would I make the hodgepodge out of like this all of these 33 songs? Like you wouldn't
No, you don't know what you're doing, you asshole.
You wouldn't know.
Well, it's just when you get to a position where you're like, I don't know how to sell this. This isn't going to work. And then the studio tries to be like, maybe we can fix it. No, it just gets, it can only get worse.
Too, that guy was probably like, see, I told you when it didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah. And that is the cross you have to bear when you stand on that pedestal a little bit. I think that it would have made less money if he put it out.
There you go.
If his version put out. That's what the argument should always be.
Which is the dangers of working within the studio system. Support independent over at secondtry.tv.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice.
Now it's time for us to decide.
Zachary.
Is this movie
Zachary.
a pleasure, a guilty pleasure,
Zachary.
or just plain guilty?
Fucking Kornfeld.
This is fun.
Kelsey, kick it off.
If you believe in love.
I knew it.
If you like women.
Oh.
If you support ACAB. If you like to sing feel good songs at the top of your lungs in the car with your friends. If you believe in peace, love, and fucking music, you go watch Across the Universe, a perfect movie musical done with so much care for the band that it is worshiping. I give this a perfect 10.
Oh, wow.
A absolute full send pleasure. Do you need anybody? I need someone to love. I won't go on because I don't want to get demonetized.
Wow.
But I love this movie with my whole fucking pussy.
I'll go right in the middle to just be in it be Switzerland. I am weirdly going to abstain from giving it any of the grading scale because I feel like it absolutely is not for me. You made
me watch Upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but it's not like this was.
I'll remember this. That's all I'm saying.
It's not even that the movie Upgrade wasn't made for you. This movie clearly was not made for me. I was the whole time I'm watching and I'm just like, oh, this is.
Kelsey must be losing her
mind. And it is unfair for me to pass any form of judgment while also not being into the band that it's about, you know? And it's just like, sure, I'll sit down and watch. What's their documentary that they have?
Oh, the 18-hour one, the Peter Jackson one.
I think so.
The one that on Apple that just came out.
Oh no, it's older. I don't know. Sure, I'll sit down and watch. There's a documentary out about them making an album. And it's cool.
That's like the 18-hour one thing.
Yeah. Sure, I'll like sit down and just because of it's. I'm interested in like the creative process behind
it's a little long.
Yeah, it's long,
It's
but
boring.
With this to it feeling like a jigsaw puzzle, and then putting that puzzle together. And then it's a picture of like someone you've never met in your life.
And you're like, it's a good picture, right?
And there's like, it's a good picture of your friend, right? And I'm like, I don't know this person.
Fair.
I've never seen, or like, that's a good picture of an actress that you know, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And so like, I didn't get the same amount of joy that the movie should have instilled because I didn't know the subject matter. So it's just like, it is so hard to be in. I think you're either hot or you're cold on this one.
Uh-oh.
Here it is.
I don't like that. Yeah, even Rainie was disgusted. Did you hear that? Even Rainie just went, ugh.
I'm nervous. I have nothing to say. I hate this movie.
Okay, well.
I just think as well, there's good stuff in it. But oh my God, if I have to ever watch this movie again.
It would have been
You just
cool.
made me rip the tag out of my shirt.
That's so funny.
So angry.
What look, in general, I'm glad you like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me have this.
You know what? This is one of the first times that I've ever done this reverse. This would have been better as a TV show. I feel like.
Oh,
personally.
yeah. You know what?
Whereas-
Like now with all the limited series money and shit.
Yeah, because you could like build out
The
certain
war
things
and the
and like
revolution.
actually like have all the episodes be like the song, and then you can actually build an entire episode around the
I like
song
that
that it
idea.
is, rather than force 33
Everything
songs
else.
into 2 hours.
It was a long movie too.
It was a long movie.
Oh,
Which
I
they
didn't
weren't
notice.
doing that shit back then. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I feel like you could get more story out of this.
No.
No,
Just leave it.
just leave it. Okay.
I hate you so much. I've never hated you so much in my life.
What's going on? What do you have
You got
heartburn
indigestion?
or
Oh.
is it all the gummy bears you ate?
I had a weird smattering.
Yeah.
Hey, you get by with a little help from your friends. You're going to try with a little help from your friends.
It is just
You get
across the
by.
universe and over my head. This is crazy.
There it is.
I'm at Corn Diddy on all the things.
I'm Kelsey Darragh on all the
I'm
things.
Garrick Bernard on all the things.
And until next time, I'm from Liverpool.
Hey, across the universe.